Follow my YouTube channel for more heart-touching stories. They left her in the dark, tied up in the basement of a house no one had lived in for years. The wallpaper peeled like old scabs, rats scurried through broken vents, and the air reeked of mildew and something far worse, fear. Her wrists bled from struggling against the wire. Her voice was gone from screaming. But her eyes, those wide, defiant eyes, never stopped watching the shadows. Her name was Mara Clark, 22, a college student with a quiet laugh and a passion for piano. Before the night of her abduction, she was just another girl walking home, earphones in, mind drifting. She never saw the van. She never heard the footsteps. She only remembered waking up to pain. There were two of them. One was calm, too calm. He was the one who wore gloves, who spoke with soft commands, who never raised his voice. The other Jared was chaos. A cruel smile, unpredictable hands, and eyes that enjoyed watching people break. They kept her for 3 days. What they wanted, she never really understood. It wasn't ransom. It wasn't revenge. Felt more like sport. Something for them to control. To study. The psychological kind of cruelty. The kind that came in the form of water withheld, music blared for hours, and silence thick enough to choke her when it finally returned out on the third night. The power flickered out during a storm. Lightning cracked the sky open, revealing her reflection in a cracked mirror across the room. She didn't look like herself. Her face was bruised, blood drying around her lips, her eyes hollow but burning. That was when she knew. Either she'd die here or they would. She didn't plan it. There was no map. No blueprint. Just instinct and timing. The calm one came downstairs first. He knelt beside her to tighten the wire. Her fingers twitched. He didn't notice the nail she had wedged beneath her sleeve. She jabbed it into his neck. It didn't kill him, not immediately. He fell back with a gurgle, eyes wide in disbelief. The blood sprayed her face. She didn't stop. She took his keys, freed herself, and waited. Jared returned 10 minutes later, confused at the silence. That was when she struck him from behind with a crowbar she found in the basement corner. Once, twice, a dozen times until his breathing stopped. When police found her wandering down the road barefoot, drenched in blood, holding a crowbar in one hand and the other dragging behind her like a lifeless puppet, they thought she was the villain. At first. But that was just the beginning. The media loved her. They called her the girl who fought back. Survivors wrote her letters. Mothers sent flowers. The men she killed were exposed as serial predators, responsible for the disappearances of at least 4 other young women over the past 5 years. Mara was hailed as a hero, but they didn't know what had changed inside her. The therapist they assigned her was kind. Too kind. Dr. Emil Hartman, a trauma specialist with soft eyes and a voice that dripped sympathy like honey. He asked her how she felt. She lied. She told him she was healing. She smiled. She was polite. She took the pills he prescribed, then flushed them down the toilet. Mara didn't want to forget. She wanted to remember everything. The cold of the wire. The smell of Jared's sweat. The sound of her own screams echoing off the moldy walls. Because in those memories was something she never wanted to lose: control. The moment she fought back, the moment the calm one's blood spilled across her face, something awakened in her. Something dark. 6 months later, she moved. New city. New name. New life. Self-defense survivor turned advocate. The news called her. She gave one interview. Just one. And her eyes, those eyes that had once pleaded for mercy, now stared through the screen like frost-covered glass. She worked at a bookstore. Quiet, peaceful. Her coworkers liked her. Customers smiled at her. No one suspected anything when men started disappearing. The first was a man named Connor Hayes. A repeat offender, 3 allegations of sexual harassment, no convictions. He cornered Mara in an alley one night, drunk and laughing. He never made it home. The second was even quieter. A man on a date with a college freshman, clearly grooming her. Mara followed them. Watched. Waited until the girl was safely gone. The man's body was found floating in the river 4 days later. No one connected the dots. How could they? Mara didn't leave fingerprints. She didn't rush. Every move was precise. Clean. Thought out. She became the ghost in the justice system, delivering sentences when the law had failed. But something started to change again. She wasn't just targeting monsters anymore. Her third victim was a therapist. Not Dr. Hartman, but someone like him. A man whose smug, calculated empathy hid his manipulative tactics. Mara had attended one of his group sessions, watching the way he leaned too close to the broken ones, his hands lingering too long, his questions always digging for weakness. She snapped his neck in the parking lot. There were no tears. No regrets. Only stillness. The same stillness she felt in that basement after she'd struck Jared down. She kept a scrapbook now. Nothing obvious, just symbols, initials, coded references. Her justice journal. Each page an echo of someone she judged guilty. Dr. Hartman began to suspect that he'd kept track of her. Not professionally. Just out of guilt. Or maybe fascination. He saw her once in a crowd, at a vigil for a missing girl. Her face didn't change. Her posture was statuesque. He noticed how she lingered after everyone left, staring at the photos. Not with sadness, but calculation. He approached her a week later. She denied being Mara, but her eyes didn't lie. "You're not here to heal," he whispered. "You're here to hunt." Mara smiled for the first time in months. Dr. Hartman never reported her. Some say it was fear. Others believe he thought he could save her. But the truth was more complex. He wanted to understand her. He recorded private notes, tracking her behavior, building a psychological profile. He wanted to know what happened when a victim becomes the predator, when survival rewrites morality. And then one night, he vanished. Mara didn't kill him. He left her a letter. Said he was done trying to understand her. But he couldn't live in a world where someone like her existed unchecked. He warned her. The line between justice and obsession had already been crossed. The next step was madness. She burned the letter. But the words haunted her. She tried to stop. She really did. She got a dog. Took up painting. Attended meditation classes. But it was like trying to silence a scream underwater. Every news article about a dismissed assault case, every smug politician denying victims, every grainy CCTV image of a girl being followed home. It all chipped away at the fragile wall she built. She couldn't stop. She didn't want to. Mara became a myth. Online forums speculated about the avenger of the voiceless. Reddit threads popped up with theories, photos, half-blurry surveillance captures of a dark figure near crime scenes. But nothing solid. Nothing concrete. The police didn't believe in her. But some survivors did. They started leaving notes. At vigils. On benches. Folded paper stuck in fences where a woman had once cried. No names. Just whispers. "Thank you. He can't hurt anyone anymore. You found him." Mara never replied. But she read every one. One night. A girl knocked on her door. 17, trembling eyes swollen from tears. She said his name. Said no one believed her. Said she just wanted someone to listen. Mara did. She made tea. She took notes. She asked questions the police hadn't. And then when the girl left, she followed the man who had hurt her. It wasn't about rage anymore. It was ritual. She dragged him to the same kind of basement where she had been held. She tied him with the same kind of wire. She asked him the same question Jared had once asked her. "Do you think anyone will come looking for you?" he begged. She listened. And then she left him there. She didn't kill him. Not this time. The man was found 3 days later, dehydrated and delirious. He confessed everything to the police. The girl's story was believed. Charges were filed. Justice, real legal justice, was served. It was the first time Mara felt something other than cold satisfaction. It was relief. She wondered. Had she changed again? Could she become something different, something not just forged in pain but shaped by it? She tried. She created an anonymous tip line for survivors. A website. A forum. She used her knowledge to help, not kill. Some men were arrested. Others exposed. Her hands stayed clean. Until the night she saw Jared's brother. He looked just like him. Same smirk. Same eyes. She followed him. Watched him hurt someone. Watched him laugh about it later. Her hands trembled. Her breath hitched. The rage returned like an old friend. She cornered him behind a bar and whispered, "Do you know what your brother did to me?" He froze. And then he ran. She didn't chase him. Not right away. She stood there for hours, listening to the heartbeat in her ears. Remembering everything. Every scream. Every bruise. Every second of silence in that damp basement. And then she smiled. The hunt began again. Some stories don't end in redemption. Some scars